A lot of people have been asking me lately, Lily, how can I be as awesome as you? Well, you can't. But I can share my super secret awesome spec and help you become a mega tree too. Now, there may be better specs out there for you, because I'm not one of those nerds who takes the time to crunch all the numbers. I'm just your ordinary nerd. But I have done a little research and through trial and error have found a spec that works really well for me. I'm going to just kind of go through this rather casually and try not to accidentally alt-tab to my gnome porn. So let's get started. First off, Blessing of the Groove. I call it that because it sounds groovier. Okay, so I put 2 points here because it's going to increase my Rejuve's healing by 4%. Yippee! This tree that I'm showing you here is going to be meant for PVE Raid healing. It's not necessarily geared towards tank healing, and it's certainly not meant for PvP. So keep that in mind. Next up, Natural Shapeshifter. Decreases your shapeshifting mana cost and the duration of the Tree of Life form by 6 seconds. It's an okay talent, but we got to take some of these talents to get to the really cool talents later on. So, next is 2 points in Naturalist. Isn't that a movie or something? I don't know. Reduces the cast time of your healing, touch, and nourish spells by 0.5 seconds. I don't want anybody else. When I think about you, I heal and touch myself. Oh, you knew that was coming. Come on. And then Heart of the Wild. 3 points here. Sounds like a Def Leppard song or something. Heart of the Wild. Increases your intellect by 6%. We don't give a crap about the bear form, cat form, blah, blah, blah. But it gives you 6% more intellect, which means a lot of spell power and mana for you. Yay! Perseverance, that's a PvP talent, so you're going to skip it for our purposes in this tree. Master Shapeshifter gives you different abilities in each form, but increases your tree healing by 4%, which is yippee for me. Improved Rejuve. That rhymes. Improved Rejuve. Increases the effect of your Rejuvenation and Swiftmend spells by 15%. How come it's not Improved Rejuvenation and Swiftmend? Just says Improved Rejuve. So yeah, this tree is going to very heavily improve your Rejuve spell. So again, as a raid healer, you're going to be using that a lot. It's going to really bump up your numbers to have these particular talents together. Living Seed is a living waste of your time. It says when you critically heal a target with Swiftmend, Regrowth, Nourish, or Healing Touch, you plant a living seed. Well, okay, I don't know. Maybe your crit's high and you're going to crit a lot, so you'll plant a lot of living seeds, which is nice and everything. But for that to bloom, the target has to be attacked. Well, if you're healing a raid, only the tank should really be getting attacked for the most part. So what's the chance that that seed is going to bloom for you in the first place? And when it does bloom, you're going to have just critically healed them not too long ago. So it's probably going to be an overheal. Plus, it's only 10% of the amount that they were healed for, so it's not even that much. It's really just not worth putting your efforts there. I would recommend putting your talents in these other wonderful talents. Putting your points in these other talents. Yeah. Shut up. I don't know what I'm talking about. Revitalize. Sounds like a delicious energy beverage. Drink Revitalize. You know, I used to be in a band called Fantastic Beverage, but we weren't very fantastic. Okay, 2 points here. Now this talent is particularly difficult to gauge because you don't really know when you're gaining this effect or not. But with this talent and with Moon Glow, I have found that I have very little mana trouble, so I would say it's probably benefiting me pretty well. Basically, it's regenerating 2% of my total mana every time that I have a 20% chance to get 2% of my mana generating every time I heal with one of my periodic spells. Well, and that means every tick, so it's very likely that it's going off often. In addition to that, it gives 10 party members extra mana regeneration, so that's just an added bonus. Now, some people choose not to put their talent point in Nature Swiftness. I do choose to put one here. A lot of times what I'll see is people will put it over here in Nature's Bounty instead. I like to put it here because it gives you that, oh crap, he's going to die, what do I do, moment kind of spell. Because it's going to turn whatever your next cast is into an instant cast. So I make myself a little macro here. This is my macro because after I cast the Nature Swiftness and the Healing Touch, then I also Bark Skin, and then I have one that's just meant for whoever I have it targeted to. So it doesn't cast Bark Skin, it just does Nature Swiftness and then Healing Touch. The reason I choose Healing Touch not only is because it's my biggest spell, but if that spell is a healing spell, the amount healed will be increased by 50%. So that's a really nice big heal that you get instantly, and I love it. Fury of the Storm Rage. Sounds like a very manly talent, but it really seems out of place in a healing tree. I don't know, it might be useful for PvP, but I really don't recommend it for PVE raid heals. 2 points in Nature's Bounty. I don't put 3 here because I just don't use regrowth that much. I tend to rely more on rejuve, wild growth, and if I've got to do a cast, it's going to be nourish or, you know, for real, those little top offs, and then healing touch if they really need a big heal. This also will reduce the cast time of your nourish spell, but only your nourish spell. I would probably consider it more if I was getting 20% off the cast time of my healing touch as well, but I just don't see it worth it to put that 3rd point in there. Empowered Touch. It increases the direct healing done by your healing touch, regrowth, and nourish spells by 10%. Ooh, there I am healing touching myself again. Grants those spells a 100% chance to refresh the duration of your life bloom on targets as well, so really nice talent to have. 2 points in Malfurion's Gift because oh my god, what a gift it is. That Omen of Clarity 4% chance, that's nice and everything, but what you really want this for is the cooldown on your Tranquility is reduced by 5 minutes, so you then have a 3-minute cooldown on your Tranquility, which is beautiful. I can usually get a Tranquility in about 3 times in a boss fight. It's wonderful. Effervescence. Isn't that a band or something? 3 points here. This is going to be really useful for PVE raid healing. It's not going to be something you would necessarily want for PvP. You're going to really want to focus on using that on your melee type peoples because they're going to be close together. Wild growth. I decided that regrowth, that's what you go to get removed from your doctor. And when you get wild growth, that's like when it spreads too much and you have to go to a specialist. I know there's something wrong with me. Seriously wrong. Nature's Cure. This, now let me be very clear here. I choose not to use this talent because I am primarily a 25-man raid healer. So there's generally always somebody in my raid who can remove magics, etc. So that's not something that I necessarily have to do. If you're going to be doing a lot of 10-mans, that may be something worth you taking. If you've got to pick some place to take the point out of, you could potentially take it out of Nature's Swiftness, maybe Nature's Bounty, or Effervescence. If you're looking at it strictly from a number standpoint, it's got to be Nature's Swiftness you want to take it out of, because this is not going to give you any type of benefit to your healing output, and you're going to get the least benefit probably from this spell. So I would recommend taking it from there to get Nature's Cure. But it's something worth talking to your raid leader about to decide if it's a talent worth taking. Nature's Ward, you're really not going to find this very useful in PvE, because what it does is it puts a rejuve on you when your health is below 50% if you take an attack. Well, if your tank's any good, you should not be taking an attack. So really, this is something more for PvP. Gift of the Earth Mother. Oh, baby, yeah, you want this. Increase the healing done by your life bloom when your life bloom expires by 15%. And causes your rejuvenation spell to also instantly heal for 15% of the total periodic effect. So that means anytime you're putting your rejuve on somebody, it's already instantly healing them by 15%. Again, like I said, this tree is really heavily buffing your rejuve spell. You're going to be using that a lot. 1 point in Swift Rejuve, which reduces the global cooldown of your rejuve. Isn't that nice? And of course, you're going to take Tree of Life. If you didn't, you would be a moron. Now this is when it gets fun. We've got all our points in our resto tree, and now we can move on. What I see a lot of people do is they put their 3 points here in Furor. This looks really nice on paper because it gives you 5% of your maximum mana, but really where you want those points is right here in Moonglow, because it reduces the mana cost of your damage and healing spells by 9%. Every single spell is 9% less effective. Over time, this one is going to keep your mana fuller, and you're going to have a much better time with it. I have tried other specs where I could take this talent and this talent in conjunction, and you could if you wanted to forego some Genesis, but this one's going to buff your numbers. This one's going to give you 4% more on every tick of your periodic spells and on your Swiftmen. So really you want this one as well. These spells, Nature's Grasp and Nature's Majesty. Nature's Grasp, Nature's Majesty, what is it? Nature's Bounty, Nature's Ward, Nature's Cure. What am I, a freaking tree hugger? Yeah. Anyways, Nature's Grasp just gives you 15% haste, and Nature's Majesty gives you 4% crit. Really not that great of talents, but really it's getting you to these talents, which is what you really do want. One thing you could do, if you're finding you don't have a lot of trouble with mana, is pop 1 point over here into Genesis and put 3 here instead of 2, and only take 2 points in Moonglow. For me, I find this to be a perfect balance. I get awesome numbers, and I rarely worry about mana. Of course, I do have, you know, some really nice mana trinkets here, and I use my potions of concentration when I really need it. But for the most part, I just really don't have a lot of mana trouble, and you know, I think it has a lot to do with my spec. So I hope that this helped you. If you have any thoughts or ideas or, you know, suggestions how I could make it better, you know, feel free to post here, or, you know, talk to me in game or whatever. And, you know, like I said, I hoped it helped. I know it may not be perfect, but it's worked really well for me. So enjoy, and I'll see you later.